We'll call this work session Monday, January 13th to order. Invocation given by Ali Miller and a pledge of allegiance by Ms. Tolliver.
God, thank you for bringing us here safely today. Thank you for these council members helping our city. I pray you guide them in their decisions. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first thing tonight is going to be the public hearing, but before we do the public hearing, we'll go over a few rules as far as the public hearing. No, you didn't have to sign up for the public hearing part. You're good. Anybody who wants to speak, we're going to give everybody a chance to have 3 minutes to come up front. All we do is ask for you to state your name before you start, okay? So at this time, this will be the time and place for the public hearing. With a raise of hands, anyone here for this? Okay. Anyone here against this? Okay. All right. I'll let the fours go first. Anyone who wants to speak, like I say, we'll give you want to keep track of that. Everyone 3 minutes, and then I will let them go back to answer any questions you may bring up. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Bert Boykin. I'm here on behalf of the applicant Racetrack. I believe this project presents a unique opportunity for the city and its citizens. It will take a vacant piece of property and convert it to a business that offers high-quality products and produces substantial tax revenue. We've submitted materials to the council and the city that shows the projected tax benefits on an annual basis, which would be split amongst the city and county. That totals $925,959. Additionally, we've provided a site plan that shows a part of Racetrack's site that could be dedicated to the city for an extension of Freedom Lane. We understand that the county proposes to move some of their operations to the old DHR building. This would allow an extension of that road to the light, alleviating traffic on those existing access ways, Micah Way and the like. We go across the state, going to city councils just like yours and introducing these applications, and more times than not, there is some opposition. We are introducing change, and it's understandable that there'll be some resistance to that. We've been to Gadsden, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, Auburn, Opelika, Chelsea. All those situations were met with some opposition. But at the end of the day, I think the question is a broader question as what's the best for the city and the entire citizens. And what Racetrack offers, I think, is unique. And one thing we would hope that you would consider before voting on this application is whether you feel like the next developer or next person that comes behind us will offer the same things that Racetrack proposes to offer. I think that's going to be hard to find. I believe this site is destined for development due to its location, its proximity to Chick-fil-A. We have worked with Chick-fil-A, coordinated our site and our design so these sites will work together. I think that's another unique feature that is present here. You're going to hear from a number of people tonight, Les Lewis, Blake McAnally on our team that will explain other aspects of this, but we would ask that you please vote in favor of a change to C3, which is already present on the property. There's R4 zoning on this property currently, and we expect you're going to hear from the owner who Racetrack's under contract with that there are multifamily developers that are interested in the event that our application doesn't go through. So again, we would ask that you would vote in favor of this rezoning. And I'll bring up Les. Thank you.
Okay. Like I say, please state your name before you begin.
My name is Les Lewis. I'm with Greenstone Properties. I'm a developer that's been engaged by Racetrack to help them on this site and other sites throughout the state of Alabama. And I was charged with initially reaching out to surrounding property owners. We mailed introductory information to over 50 residential and commercial property owners in the immediate proximity of this property. We rented the meeting space at the Hampton Inn and held a meeting there where 3 or 4 representatives from Racetrack were there. 2 of the civil engineers, myself and others were there in a kind of a charrette setting with different stations with the initial proposed site plan set up. We fielded one-on-one as well as group comments. We revised the site plan once. Based on that initial community meeting, we had follow-up meetings with smaller groups and direct outreach to others. And I'd like to summarize quickly what happened between the initial site plan that Racetrack preferred and the changes and concessions were made. They reduced the access points out of Windsor Drive from 2 to 1. The one off of Windsor Drive is a right-in, left-out only, so that directing traffic flow away from Windsor Drive and the residences down there. That connection off of Windsor does not connect to the rear of the site to the additional diesel canopy. It only serves the front of the store. In addition, we coordinated access at the front with not only a traffic study that Blake will address, done by the same traffic engineer that the city hired for the Chick-fil-A, but we coordinated with Chick-fil-A, and with Chick-fil-A's consent, their access would be redesigned to optimize traffic flow. We reduced the number of diesel pumps in the additional diesel canopy from 7 to 4 and eliminated all truck parking. So while the additional diesel canopy, can serve large trucks, there is no parking. It's mostly designed for the increase in like box trucks and Amazon delivery trucks, or anyone driving a diesel pickup truck and hauling a trailer that can't access the regular automobile pumps up front. Another change was a 6-foot tall privacy fence along the 4 residences that are on the south side of the site. Heavy landscaping including 2 rows of evergreen trees, specifically not Bradford pears, which was a request of one of the neighbors. On each side of the property fence will be the evergreen trees. The automobile pumps up front were reduced from 10 in the original drawing down to 8, and the overall developed acreage was reduced by 1.5 acres. We moved the signage, the primary signage, to the closer to Highway 72, and we provided lighting specifications because that was one of the concerns, was the lighting. This is the modern day directional shoebox lighting that does not bleed horizontally, just down lighting.
All right, that's your 3 minutes.
Oh.
Let me get the.
The last thing I want to say is that while the neighbors engaged and gave us some good input, we responded to that. They also, to a person, while they appreciated what we did, they all said they did not want to see more apartments on this site, which is what it's currently zoned for. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. My name is Blake McAnally. I'm with Pewright McAnally. We're the civil engineer with working with Racetrack, and we have done a dozen or more of these projects all around North and Central Alabama. As Les had spoken about, we did engage Saint & Associates, who did perform a traffic impact study, and we looked at the ways to basically to maintain the intersection's performance, level of service. They've got multiple different modifications to Micah Drive to allow traffic to flow freely into the site, creating stop conditions in other locations to also allow traffic to flow freely. We're able to maintain the level of service of the intersection. We had comments in some of the meetings that Les referred to in regards to stormwater detention. This is a 15-acre site, and we're using less than half of it. We've got plenty of capacity for stormwater detention to detain what is required by the city, which is no increase in the rate of runoff, but we've got property enough to go beyond that to be able to actually reduce the amount of water that was leaving the site post-development. We have also got grading where we're up out of the floodplain. This site, should you approve it and it come to the city, also affords opportunity to affect traffic in positive ways off of this site and back to the west. So just wanted to present that, and if you had a question technical, I'd be happy to answer for you.
But like I say, I will give y'all a chance to respond at the end for any questions that come up during this. Mhm. Anyone else here for this that wants to speak? Okay.
I'm Marlon Blaylock. I own the property. I owned the property for some 40 years. 28th, I'll be 86 years old. I'm ready to do something. So I worked with Publix for a couple of years, and they decided to move across the street, and I've been with these people negotiating back and forth for a couple of years. So if this doesn't go through, I have another client that's interested in apartments, and it's already zoned for apartments, and that would not be a problem. It's so they estimate they can put as much as 100 apartments on there, and I think the city would be better served with a racetrack than they would 100 apartments with all the kids and all the things that goes with 100 families moving in next door. So you have a choice, either racetrack or apartments, basically what it amounts to. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so before we start, let's start on this side, because I know I saw a lot of hands raised. Anybody who wants to get up, and we'll just go down each row. And Hunter, no. Just go ahead, Paul.
Paul Brubaker. I live on Windsor Drive, which is the road adjacent to the property they were wanting to put this truck stop. And to start off, this is a truck stop. It's not a gas station. I've lived at Windsor Drive for over 20 years. I worked at Harbin Motor Company across the street from this property for over 20 years. This intersection, if you add another exit to the intersection, that's going to make it a 6-way stop. You already have 2. You have one from Home Depot, one from Harbin's. You got Chick-fil-A. Then if you add one for them, then you got 35. Sometimes to turn left off our street, to head back to the intersection, you have to turn right, go down and do a U-turn and come back because the stoplights, cars are backed up. One time last year, I got pulled over by a policeman because I was turning left, got over to the far lane to turn right to go into where I work at Harbin's, and he said I didn't turn into the first lane to get over. Well, there's no room to do that. And I said that to the guy. I said, let's go over there and do that yourself and see if you can do it. And he let me go because that's not possible. As far as tax revenue, the gas stations in town already probably do 900 in tax revenue. You're just taking away from the gas stations that are already here. I mean, you're only going to get gas at one spot. You're dividing out the money, so it's not extra tax income. If you've come from Home Depot lately, you know how hard it is to get out of that intersection. You can't get across the intersection. That land is low land. Looks like there's natural springs on it. I bet you'd have to raise it up 10 feet. If you rose it up 10 feet, I would be able, I'm on the high side of the street, I'd be able to see over the houses and see the whole gas station or truck stop there. Like, there's no way to undo that. That's just the way it is. The new place next to Chick-fil-A is already above Chick-fil-A, built above it. So, when they talk about retention ponds, these are going to be full of water and mosquitoes and all this, in our neighborhood. I was a diesel mechanic for 30 years. That smell lingers It doesn't just go away, so any diesel trucks running over there, it's gonna be all through our neighborhood, just lingering around, because our neighborhood will now be the low part of the property.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Hello everyone, my name is Balraj Singh Sanghera. I'm an immigrant. I'm just here to talk from my heart. I don't have any numbers or anything. So my family owns a small gas station in Scottsboro. We are here since 2011. We lived with this society, most of you know us. Every time, whenever city needs us, we were there. Most of the gas station owners in Scottsboro, they live inside the city limits. They own the houses, they pay property tax. They have money in the local banks. They shop local, their kids in these school systems. Everything we do, out of 100%, more than 75%, we do that inside this city limit. You guys are here for the city. You guys are educated enough, more than me, everyone in this room. So I think you are gonna decide what is good, the best for the city. As an owner, as a father, as a community member, I can just request you guys just do what is the best for the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Tim Saint, and I just want to speak against it because, like you said, that's for the city. You guys are looking out for our safety. If any of y'all have tried to go to Home Depot down that road at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, it's not very safe. And by adding more traffic to it to make 18-wheelers try to turn, to try to cross the road, try to cross the streets, to try to pull in and out of there is unsafe. They can say that it's made it better, but it's not really making it better. It's gonna make things worse for trucks that have to turn in and out. Am I saying that we don't need that in Scottsboro? I don't know. That's not for me to say, because I'm not here to say we don't need or do need. Apparently we do. We're getting 2 more different gas stations in that area. But I'm just saying that that is the wrong spot for this gas station. Again, it's a safety thing. Again, we want Scottsboro to grow. This community didn't say anything about the 150 homes that's coming in behind us. And if we put that gas station there, you know how many of those people are gonna be traveling up and down that street? Just about all of them. Kids and their 4-wheelers and their this and their that's gonna be traveling up and down through there and make everything unsafe. So again, safety is what we're looking at as far as the Scottsboro, and what y'all should be looking at to help us out to keep areas safer than what it's gonna be. We're bringing more traffic, more turning, more 18-wheelers to try to go in and out, and those kind of things.
Thank you. Anyone else on this side? No one else? All right, then we'll start on this side. Anyone else on this side wants to speak?
Hi, my name's Dean Barker. I live at 715 Windsor. Just moved here a little over a year ago, retired. It's the last house I plan on buying, and I really don't want to look at the back end of a racetrack. I live right next to Mr. Brubaker, so we're both at the high end. We both will be seeing it. Also, I walk up and down Windsor every day with my dogs. The neighbors could attest to that. And the safety factor, once them houses go in behind us, between the racetrack and the houses behind us, the traffic's gonna be a nightmare. And it is almost impossible to get out of Windsor turning left onto 35 after about 7 o'clock on. It's a nightmare. And I just don't think it's needed there. I'm not opposed to a racetrack, but that location, I don't think works. I think there's other places within 72 that a racetrack would do well. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
said before, like they've said before, it's not a good location. I pull out of there every day, and I can't go left. I have actually also been pulled over for doing a U-turn because it's apparently illegal. I didn't know that. I thought there should be a sign saying you can't do one, but I made sure with the courts that, yes, that was wrong. It is illegal to do a U-turn there. He didn't give me a ticket, but a warning was, you know, told. Horrible, horrible traffic through there, everywhere from Publix to Chick-fil-A. It's bad. Actually, Chris's brother was in town and had a wreck there. Flipped him, actually, and I know that you're supposed to go slow through there, but they don't. It's terrible. I don't want to be looking at a racetrack. I don't even like the Chick-fil-A sign. I see from my backyard, the drive-through and the drive-through menu lights up pretty much side of my yard. I can see it actually closer to the Saints, and it's still just as bright as you can, don't want to lose that privacy, even though they said that they'll be building up trees, and how many years is that going to take? And furthermore, like Mr. Brubaker said, the diesel, I don't want to smell that. I'm sure y'all wouldn't in your neighborhood either. The houses that are going in behind us, that's going to be traffic enough, and not to mention the ones that they're putting over, off of, is it Bynum or over in that area? It's going to be more traffic. So I really, really don't want it in my neighborhood, because I've already had to redirect my way to work just to pull out there safely. I don't even like company coming because I'm scared to death what's going to happen, them coming through those lights. It's horrible. Miss Lloyd lives across the street from us. She's already been hit, and that was before Publix and Chick-fil-A come in. So, no, I really, really hope that y'all don't side with them on this, because I think it's a terrible location. It's up to y'all if a racetrack comes in, but a different location would be best.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak against this? Okay, I'll give you a chance for anything you'd like to speak on, anything that was brought up. And also, council, if you have any questions for them, this would be the time.
Yeah, please, just to address a couple of things. Most of the people that have stood up tonight that live nearby, we've met with, we've tried to engage with. We even factored in a lot of their comments into the changes that were made. We've made very recent attempts just to try to double check. What else could we do? What else? We can't make any further steps towards overcoming any remaining concerns if we can't get the engagement. We engaged to a level, we made changes, we followed up to say, is there anything else? We followed up recently, again, no response. So I don't know what else racetrack could do if those that are having concerns won't continue to express them to us to give us a chance to try to overcome those. I also think that, again, everyone that I've met with in the past saying they didn't want apartments next door, no one's just saying they don't like this site for racetrack. They're not opposed to racetrack, they just don't like this site. But no one's brought up their thoughts on apartments, which is the current zoning. And I think that needs to be weighed in your decision is, like the landowner, Mr. Blaylock said, is are you gonna keep the current zoning? That's likely what it's gonna become without any coordination with racetrack. Without any coordination with Chick-fil-A on access or any coordination with them on screening, fencing, anything else that has been made. It won't be a requirement for that. So I think that needs to be weighed when you weigh the pros and cons.
Thank you.
From an engineering perspective, I just want to give you a chance to answer any questions you might have. And I would say in regards to the property being low and having to have fill, yes, it will have to have fill. It will not be 10 feet. It will be somewhere half or less than half than that. And I'd be happy to entertain any questions you might have.
So, questions, how many pumps did y'all end up settling on?
Eight.
Eight.
And for
And then, four.
Forward and back.
dispensers in the separate diesel can.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? I know that was considerably lower than what you started. Mhm.
And I would just like to wrap up briefly that I believe most of the opposition that you've heard would apply to any development of this property, which, again, I think is on the way. And another point about the traffic study is the finding is that racetrack's not going to be a generator of traffic, which is something that is a concern that is continuously brought up. But to put it another way, there's not going to be many people that leave their home to make one stop at this site. They're going to be on the road going to some other destination, stop and fill up their tank and be on their way. So this is not going to substantially increase the existing conditions and traffic that is being discussed. So again, I hope that you consider all these things and if you have any questions, we would be more than happy to engage you on that. And lastly, we do have an additional letter. We've shared a letter from Chick-fil-A stating their support of our application. Chick-fil-A actually has a landlord owner that owns that property, and they have also issued a letter. We don't have a copy. It just got sent to us, so we'll follow up with that. Thank you again.
Anyone have any questions?
To go back to what he's talking about as far as the traffic and it may not bring more traffic, it's gonna redirect the traffic instead of traffic going straight and going and continue to move on. It's gonna cause the traffic to be redirected into that facility. So that's what's gonna cause more traffic delays and more traffic issues.
Okay.
And plus, the traffic is gonna be coming from the new homes being built.
Thank you. All right, so, well, go ahead.
Just to be clear,
Yes.
the traffic as it exists, there's a level of service for the intersection of Micah and Alabama 35, and those are graded. If you allow you allow the store to come, there will be improvements made to the road. The curve in Micah will be taken out. It will be extended straight. One of the driveways for Chick-fil-A will be taken out and moved back away from the highway. That all improves the intersection so that with a new business coming there, the improvements being made will maintain the level of service of the signalized intersection at Micah and 35. That's the whole point of the city requesting that we do a traffic impact study to see what would happen if we do these improvements. And we've done that, we've supplied that. The city has that study that demonstrates the level of service to that intersection will remain the same.
Okay.
One thing on traffic, if I would, that's probably worth mentioning. We did earlier site plan iteration options that we shared with some of the neighbors where, and Racetrack is still willing to do this if this is something in favor of the neighbors in the city. I would say the neighbors had mixed reactions to different options, but Racetrack was willing at their expense to turn the Windsor Drive Highway 35 intersection into either a right in, right out, or move down Windsor and cul-de-sac it, if that was important. And the final site plan that we've been submitted here was more based on city staff didn't prefer those. But if that's something that the city council and the neighbors, that's still something Racetrack would be willing to do.
Well, I know the cul-de-sac part was a big thing with the fire and police. That was a big drawback because of the apartments and everybody. It'd be so hard for them to get back there. So that was like pretty much out the window.
Well, it seems like,
Yeah.
traffic remains a concern amongst
Yes.
the people that are here.
Yes.
There were other options that are still, Racetrack's still certainly willing to offer if that's something that is of interest.
Yes.
And along that point, emergency access can be granted and accessible for emergency vehicles when normal traffic vehicles are not allowed. Then we do that type of design for that exact condition you
Okay.
described, so that can be overcome with design.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
The curve on Microwave and cutting off Home Depot, putting a stop sign there, is what helped flow traffic through that intersection. And it's bad for people coming from Home Depot, because you can stop there and nobody has to stop coming, down Microwave. But after 20 years of going through that intersection every day, probably 40 or 50 times a day, that's what helped that intersection.
Agree.
Other thing added to this intersection, it will be a nightmare. And where I particularly work, I can see the intersection all day long, wreck after wreck after wreck. You'll hear, look over there, wreck. It's just a dangerous, probably the most dangerous intersection in town, because people coming off 72, if they got a green light, they're going 50, 60 miles an hour. They're, when they get tar road, they're going 50, 60 miles an hour. And that just makes it dangerous.
Thank you. All right,
With the apartments, you generate even more traffic than you would with 100 apartments, 100 families living there, you're gonna have a lot of traffic.
all right, I appreciate that. This will conclude the public hearing. The city council, of course, has laws about when they can vote. The first option on that will be on February 10th, so I will put this on the February 10th meeting for a vote that night. Okay? All right, thank you. And anybody who's here just for that, if you want to go, this will be your chance before we move on. But I'm sure Mr. Brickley would love for you to stay for the next part. So. Thank you. Number 2 tonight is discuss the radon control methods. Mr. Brickley, the mic is yours.
Thank you. It's a shame everybody's leaving.
I tried.
I understand, I heard you. A lot of people don't realize how big of an issue radon is. Lung cancer is the #1 cause of cancer deaths in the country. And radon is the #2 cause of lung cancer in this country. It is a big issue. It's very high across 9 counties in North Alabama, one of which Jackson County is one of. It is, like I say, the #2 cause of lung cancer. Alabama ranks 26th for cancer deaths in the country. Jackson County ranks as one of the highest in the state of Alabama. We have 73 cancer deaths a year per 100,000 people in Jackson County. And Alabama ranks 14th in the number of elevated tests for radon a year, but it only ranks 15th for the number of radon tests conducted a year. So we're not testing enough, and part of the issue for reasons that people don't test, the 2 main reasons people do not test for radon in their home. #1 is they don't know what radon is. They're not aware that it's an issue, that it causes lung cancer. And #2 is they're afraid of the expense that it's going to take to get rid of it. And so what I would like to see the council do is adopt Appendix F or Appendix AF, depending on which version of the code you're looking at. But what it addresses is radon-resistant new construction. And it would cause very little additional cost to a homeowner as far as the initial building, and that's the only time that this would affect. Wouldn't affect anything that's existing already. All it would be is for new construction. And it would, what it says is they have to put a passive radon system in the home when they build it, which amounts to putting a PVC pipe either from under the slab or under the membrane on a foundation home and up through the building and exit the roof. Cost is approximately $150 per home for most homes. So it's not a big cost issue. And if you get rid of the worry of the cost of mitigation, cost of getting rid of the radon, more people would be willing to test because they're not afraid if their home's built radon resistant, it's not gonna be as hard to get rid of it if you would do that. It would give them more incentive to test their home, and we need the testing done. About 20% of the homes in Jackson County would test elevated if they're tested. Right now, there have been 10 out of 1,000 homes tested in the Jackson County area. So we're real low on the testing, and it really needs to be done to protect people's health. And the reason for adopting the appendix is just yes, it adds a little bit of cost to building a home, but not very much. And it would alleviate a lot of the worry for people as far as testing to see if they have radon issues in their home.
All right. Anyone have any questions, Mr. Brickley, on this?
Did I understand you right? You said in building a new home, it'd be $150, $200 to install it?
It costs, yes, talking to city engineer and the building inspectors and different builders, it would cost somewhere around $100 to $200 per home to install this system as the home is built. Now, after the home's built, it's a bigger issue. That's why we'd like to see the appendix adopted, because then it's something that'd be added to the construction process and they'd automatically do it, and you wouldn't have the additional cost later on.
If you didn't have that, what you're talking about, adding, and a house tested hot for radon, what kind of money are you talking about to get rid of it then?
Anywhere from, usually somewhere from $2,500 to $4,000. With the system in there, then you're usually looking at somewhere around $1,000 to $1,200. So it really reduces the cost. And like I say, the big issue we see, and we've given free tests away, and people still are afraid to test because they're afraid that they're going to find out their house is elevated. And they don't want to have to, they'd rather not know the truth than to deal with having to do something with it, even though it's for their own health.
And, well, of course, anybody can go ahead and do it. There's nothing stopping anybody. You're just asking us to make an ordinance so that everybody has to do it.
Yeah, I'm asking that you adopt, the city already uses the International Residential Code. And all I'm asking is that you adopt the appendix that addresses radon-resistant new construction.
Okay.
So it's just adopting that appendix, part of the code that you're already following.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions on that? All right. Thank you, Mr. Brickley. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Number 3, discuss the resolution to award the bid for the truck scale for solid waste department. Mr. Level?
Thank you. Each one of you have a packet in front of you that we put out the bids for the truck scales at the landfill, which this is was in our budget, added to our budget money this past budget season. So the ones that came back, I can answer any questions. I did you a tally sheet where you can see each one of the bids. And Wingfield scale out of Chattanooga, of course, has met within our budget, other than the rental of a temporary scale. The $4,000 for a temporary scale is worth a lot more than that to us, because it keeps us from having to turn folks around and send them back to Scottsboro to weigh, then go back, and then come back and weigh out. So if you got any questions, I'll be glad to answer them, because everything's right here.
Did you say this was in our budget already?
Yes, I was going to remind everyone that we did put $100,000 in the budget to cover the scale, because we knew it's going to be around that. With the temporary, there'd be a $3,500 budget amendment to cover this. So, anyone else having questions on that? Then we'll move that to tonight's meeting. Thank you. All right, number 4. Discuss the budget amendment and resolution to award the bid for the HVAC for the police department. Ms. Phillips, you can go over that one first.
Yes, we mailed 4 bids and received 2 bids for the 2 HVAC units for the police department. It's recommended that the bid be awarded to Central Air Conditioning as the lowest bidder.
Anyone having questions on that? No questions, we'll move that to tonight's meeting. Number 5, discuss the budget amendment from the animal shelter roof. Chief Latimer.
Recently, a roof leak was discovered in the Jackson Scottsboro Animal Shelter. We had Philip, who works for the city, come out and look and pulled some of the metal back, and there was some significant rot and mold in one area of the roof. The remaining part of the roof is very difficult to examine because of the insulation and everything up in the roof. But it's suspected that there's some other areas of that roof that are also in bad shape and need replacing. So we contacted 3 different roofing companies to come out and give us some estimates. And it's my opinion on the low end to repair was just going to be an easy fix, but it was not going to address the issue of the entire roof or even trying to find the other problem areas. So I'm suggesting that I'm asking for a budget amendment of up to $15,000 to replace the roof. That would cover the replacing the entire roof, pulling off all the metal, putting in new screws, new subroof or plywood or anything that needs to be addressed that way. And that there's a little bit of room there in case they discover more damage, that they can repair that.
Okay. And you'll see A2Z was the low bidder.
Yes.
Now, but we're correct, we do split half this cost?
Yes, we
with
do.
Jackson County?
Based on the contract with the Jackson County Commission with the animal shelter, they agree to pay 50% of the cost of operations, repairs, and everything of that nature.
So will we half this cost then?
Roughly, yeah. We would be responsible for $7,500. And
Okay. So Monica, you'd be good with just doing a $7,500? Okay. Okay. So any questions on that? We need a budget amendment to replace the whole roof for $7,500. No question? We'll put that on tonight's meeting. Thank you. All right. And then number 6, discuss changes to job descriptions for the fire department. Chief Lee?
In these packets is the current and proposed minor job changes I would like to get approved. The first one is the position of firefighter. We haven't updated these since 2019, and the only change I would like to add to that is the ability to add apparatus operator, pumper. Currently, all of our firefighters have to fill in and drive at some point, and this is just a class I'd like to require on the job description. And that would be number 3 added to the proposed. That's all for that position. Next is the deputy chief position that we're ready to fill. If you will look at the proposed job description, it would be number 5, number 6, and number 8 that I would like to get changed. And that includes the ability to obtain plans examiner and the ability to obtain fire officer 4, which is both 40-hour classes through the fire college. Currently, number 8 states 15 years continuous municipal fire service. I would like to change that to 12. And currently it states 5 years supervisor experience. I'd like to change that to 3 years experience in a promoted officer position.
Okay.
That's it.
Anyone have any questions on these changes on job descriptions? And it will still read Deputy Chief Fire Marshal.
Yes, correct.
They'll still have to help
That
out,
is
I'm
correct.
sure. Charlie does a great job, they can't do it all.
Very true.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? All right, we'll put that on tonight's meeting.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
That'll conclude the work session. We'll do reports at the end of the council meeting. So with that being said, just give me a second to get the meeting ready and we'll get going. So we're adjourned from the work session. I'm just gonna leave those together and do them at the same time. So. Y'all ready? So I got it wrote down, we'll go. All right. We'll call this council meeting Monday, January 13th to order. We'll dispense for formalities. Ms. Phillips, will you do the roll call?
Ms. Tolliver?
Here.
Mr. Ashburn?
Here.
Ms. Frederick?
Here.
Mr. Bailey?
Here. Before we adopt the agenda, I'll go over the agenda tonight. And as you know, number 1's already on here, the Rebuild Alabama Act Report. Ms. Phillips will go over that. Number 2 will be the resolution to award and a budget amendment for the bid for the truck scale for the solid waste department. And this is the $3,500 that would have come out of excess sales tax. Number 3 is a budget amendment and resolution to award the bid for the HVAC for the police department. The low bid was Central Air, Unit 1, $9,526, and Unit 2, $8,726. Number 4, budget amendment for the animal shelter roof. Low bid was A2Z. We'll need a budget amendment for $7,500 that will have to come out of excess sales tax to replace that. And number 5 are the job description changes for the fire department. Leave anything out? All right. So I have a motion to adopt that agenda.
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda's adopted. Next is approval of previous minutes. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on those? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. No old business. We'll go to new business. Number one is the Rebuild Alabama Act report. Ms. Phillips, will you do that, please?
As part of the Rebuild Alabama Act requirements, every year at the first meeting in January, we are required to present an annual written report detailing expenditures made with the Rebuild Alabama Act funds during the previous year. So you have that report in your packet. The funds in the account as of 9/30/2024 are $98,593.63. The only expense we had last year was for the microwave project for $15,226.53.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. All right, number two is a resolution and budget amendment to award the bid for the truck scale for solid waste in the amount of $3,500 that will have to come out of excess sales tax. So I have a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number three, budget amendment and resolution to award the bid for the HVAC for the police department. These are two separate units. Unit one being $9,526. Unit two being $8,726 to Central Air. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. A budget amendment for the animal shelter roof. This would be to replace the roof with using A2Z roofing. We need a budget amendment for $7,500 that would come out of excess sales tax. So do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion. Go ahead, second.
Got a
Doesn't
motion and a
matter.
second. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number five, changes to the job description of the fire department. These are two different ones. One's firefighter and two's the deputy chief and fire marshal. Is that correct? That's how it's written? Okay, all right. So you have two different ones. Do I have a motion to change those job descriptions?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That concludes tonight's meeting. There's no delegations tonight. They've already left. So we'll go to reports. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one thing tonight. Ron, Chief Latimer, Chief Lee, Stacy, and Wayne, I want to thank you all for the work during the snow last weekend. I think everything went as well as it could. Talking to Ron, no accidents that were significant, no significant injuries. John, fires, and I know Stacy actually put out some information, or we did, Julia put it out, changing the routes, so you got a lot of Friday's route picked up on Thursday. And Wayne, you made a few changes to what we had been doing in a couple of problem areas, and I think everything went probably as well as it possibly could have, given what we had. So I just want to say thank you for that. That's all I've got, Mr. President.
Thank you. Ms. Tolliver?
I don't have anything, just to wish everybody a happy new year and excited about the things to come for our city in Scottsboro. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ashford?
I just have a question I'd like to ask the mayor. I've been going to, and I forgot it till a while ago. You know, we talked earlier about locating all these Airbnbs that are around in town and let them start buying a business license and taxing them. Do you know how that's going right now? Is that?
I know they are selling. I don't know. I haven't checked with her lately, but they are purchasing those.
Okay.
I can get you a number.
Well, I'm just wondering if it was, if they were actually being picked up and so on like that.
Yeah, I think so, yes.
Yeah. And other thing, I'd like for y'all to ask, I'm asking for y'all's prayers for Ralph.
Yes.
He's having some medical conditions, and he needs a prayer. So, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Frederick?
Well, I want to add to what the mayor said. I want to say the water, sewer, and gas and the electric power board did a great job during the snowstorm, because when I got up and got in that hot shower, I sure was thankful that the water came on and it was hot. So y'all did a great job too, so I appreciate that. That's all.
Thank you. Let me remind everyone, there'll be no meeting next Monday for the holiday. So on the 27th, we will double up again, work session and meeting. I appreciate everybody showing up this Monday, though. Thank you.
You didn't want us here last week.
That's right.
With that being said, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank y'all.
Awful.